Savaged.
I want to come break news to you. This is coming actually in Madison, Wisconsin. This is called Jones Library Tea Party. Okay, look at the age category. This just came in. All right, look at the ages. It's a complete drag show. Ages from 4 to 9 years old. Okay,
that's disgusting, Sauce.
Are you seeing it?
Hold that thought. Yeah, hold that.
This is the biggest hit, Panama Red, which is fiction. The Atlantis book, some people would claim it's fiction, but I stand by the fact that it's not. But yeah, no, the Panama Red book, over 100,000 copies sold, and it's part of the series of 6 books. So,
This program contains subject matter and language that may be disturbing to some viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
There we go again.
More technical problems. We live in the 21st century.
Savaged unfiltered.
Not only should we not be employed, but we gave $30 billion. Did you know we gave $30 billion to this system?
Your host, Michael Gardner. Like a Hellcat.
Alrighty, guys. Welcome to Savaged Unfiltered, guys. Happy Monday to everybody. Hope everybody had a great weekend. I know I did. Supporting the McGuires over there in Pensacola, Florida. Went over there about maybe 3-4 days ago. Awesome food, guys. If you're in the Pensacola area, I strongly suggest you check it out. It is an Irish pub, and they have delicious food. So strongly suggest you guys check out McGuire's there in Pensacola, Florida. Great stuff. Joseph, buddy, welcome to the show, obviously. How was your weekend, man?
Okay. The only McGuire's we have here in Michigan is the car wax kind.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I promised them I would plug them into the show today. They were asking me, they're like, because they seen the podcast. Well, they seen it and they also heard it too. So I guess they check us out on audio and through Rumble too. So they love the show. So
tell them to open a Detroit location. Downriver, actually, in Wyandotte.
Yeah, I think they want to stay close to the to the beach type of scene. They like the Florida scene, and I mean they're literally like not too far from the ocean there in Pensacola Beach. So really good stuff. So, but yeah, I was up in Pensacola about maybe 3-4 days ago, just about 4 days ago, and Shaky and I were doing some scouting for some sponsors, which is very rare because we usually don't scout for sponsors. They usually scout for us, obviously. They hear the show and they whatever. But we were checking them out, and we stopped there and we got to talk to some of the restaurant team there, and the cooks and the management, and a phenomenal place. I love them, and they're going to be sponsoring the show, obviously. So yeah.
And the waiters and waitresses who the IRS will be coming after their tips very soon. Yeah.
Hopefully not, man. Hopefully not. But yeah, man, we have a special guest joining us here. Momentarily, we're going to bring him on by the name of Alexendar Grover. So really cool guest. He's actually resides in Ukraine. Was checking out some of his profile there. So, what do you think, man? Before we bring him on, any notes, Joseph?
The first thing that comes to mind is I'm seeing all over social media a bunch of anti-war protests, to which I respond every time. Will they be protesting Putin and demand he withdraws troops to end the war?
I don't know. We'll find out.
Yeah. Will they discuss at all the 100 years of aggression and exploitation of Russians upon Ukrainians? Or, of course, do they conveniently leave out all that historical fact?
Yeah. Well, before we bring Sauce in, I noticed Sauce, he's running a little late. It's okay. But, guys, I want to bring in our guest here. Like I said, a really, really great guest, Alexendar Grover, to the show. Welcome, Alexendar. How's it going?
Yeah, it's going good. Actually, I've been in this McGuire's. I went to OCS in Pensacola, class 1495, Navy OCS. I went to, and they have the doors where the men's bathroom is the girls' bathroom, and you always go wrong, and it's like a prank, right?
Really?
Is that the McGuire's, and they have some bus outside? I mean, this was back in the 90s. I was there.
That is the location. You're correct, sir. Yes.
Yeah. That was 1995. Between May and August, somewhere in that time frame, I was there, in my whites, for Liberty. I remember that very well.
Now, how about that for a really weird coincidence that he brings that up on today? And
as soon as I heard Pensacola, I got excited because that's when my life changed.
And this wasn't staged. It wasn't planned. The guest didn't know that was coming. Mike didn't know to set that up. And then the other thing is, when I can joke, I like to joke, since your last name is Grover. Are you the Sesame Street character?
Yeah, that was the joke in Officer Candidate School. I got that. I got branded
all the time. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I couldn't resist.
Yeah, Alexendar, this is Saucelin Timison. He joins us here from his show, The Sauce Report.
Nice.
Wrong slide. There we go.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
So, good. How's it going, Sauce? I know, Sauce, you had a question. You want to make a statement, or you had to address something on the show, but we're going to save that in a little bit. Yep. So bear with us on that. So
I do have a question for Mr. Grover.
Okay.
So what's it like being in Ukraine right now? Is it like as bad as they say it is, or what's it like?
Well, I'm in Lviv, right? And I've been kind of stuck here even. So this is not bad here. The worst we had some missile strikes. Yes, some people died, but it's nothing like the eastern Ukraine on the front lines. Right. We were living with blackouts. We had power cuts, but they got things back up. Mm-hmm. When the power grid was hit, I mean, there were guys, electricians from Norway and all over the world. That's my other nationality. I'm also a Norwegian citizen now as well. I'm American, and I got a second Norwegian passport, and I moved to Ukraine. So it's been a long trip, but we've been very fortunate here in this unfortunate situation. And I don't want to downplay, the tragedies that have happened in Lviv. I mean, people died from these strikes, and these diesel generators are running everywhere, and a few children got poisoned from breathing the carbon monoxide because they didn't understand to stay away from generators. Nobody had to deal with generators before and didn't realize how dangerous they are. Mm-hmm. So and the traffic and all this kind of stuff, and the road lights go out, and there's been accidents, but compared to the front lines, we're very fortunate here. And I've taken trips all the way back to the U.S. to Virginia Beach, where my mom lives. I settled my mom there, and then before I left the country, and I don't know. It's like I miss it here. This is my home now, and it's like this is like America was 150 years ago. This is a frontier. Things are changing. Things are improving. 80 years ago we had Al Capone and corrupt cops and all this stuff, and it's evolving here, and I'm living through it. And it's nice. I mean, people are getting better. I mean, I have to say that. Like after the war started.
Alexendar, hold on, if I may chime in, for somebody residing in Ukraine, your English is very, very well. I have to say.
Well, I'm born in Minnesota, and I grew up in America. I was a U.S. Navy officer, and I went to Kansas State University for engineering. I went to University of Illinois for an MBA. I worked at BlackRock on Wall Street. I worked at the Sears headquarters in Chicago. So I've been all over the U.S. And then I immigrated to Norway to take a job and get a change. And then after becoming a Norwegian
I did see that in your profile. You do speak Norwegian, right?
I speak Norwegian too, because in Norway you have to learn the language to become a citizen. It's not like America where, they just let things slide. They in Norway, it's a very liberal country. It's very woke, but they're very tough on the citizenship rules.
That's
you
good.
really have
we need that here.
Yeah, we need that here, absolutely. And to make so you're Norwegian too, so it's Norway or the highway. But seriously, to Sauce's point, West and your response, Western Ukraine is night and day from what's going on in East.
Oh yeah.
You don't have children being rounded up in Western Ukraine and being shipped off into concentration re-education camps in the heart of Russia.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on President Biden's handling?
Well, he was here today. I think I heard an MH-53 because it's a very distinctive rotor sound, And I tell you what, I voted for Trump twice, but I'm with Joe now. I was like one of these right-sided Americans, and I'm still pro-gun. I still love the guns, And back in America, brother. I have my AR-15, my Remington 870, a 6-hour P226, all under my mom's bed, And,
but what do you think about?
Go ahead, Sauce.
What do you think about Biden's recent policy of our tax dollars paying for the pension for Ukrainian government and just paying for Ukraine? Now we're just paying all of Ukraine to sustain itself. Isn't that like committing treason though? Don't we have can't we worry about something else? Isn't that against the law, using our tax dollars to make sure that we cover the pensions? What are your thoughts on that? Because clearly, we have weapons.
I don't have the details, but what I can see is that, on video the other day, a guy I know who lives closer to the east sent me a video of the HIMARS launching rockets, and then next thing you read is a lot of Russians are dead. That makes me happy, and I think Biden is doing a good job. America has always had a problem with Russia. I mean, that's how Reagan made his career during the McCarthy era, rooting out Russians out of Hollywood. They have always been in our politics. They are always jealous of what we have.
But the issue here,
Biden, there's a lot of mistakes, right? But all presidents make a lot of mistakes. I mean, look at Reagan with Iran-Contra. Look at Trump taking up Colin Kaepernick instead of working on a new healthcare plan. He got bogged down with one guy kneeling at an NFL game instead of taking care of a global issue.
But there was no war under President Trump, though.
No, and that's the point. If Trump were still president,
but that's like if my aunt calls, she'd be my uncle, right?
Yeah.
Now there is a war.
The only reason there is war is because of Biden's weakness.
But you also have to say this though. Under
pretty much,
Trump, Under President Trump, though,
go ahead, Sauce.
Okay, if President Trump was still president, he would not even allow Zelensky to step inside the House chamber and drape a Ukrainian flag over the House thing and stating that you guys are fighting for democracy, but you guys are investing in our country. Well, what's our investment? Because normally, if I invest in the market, if I invest in my
Ukrainians dying so that Americans don't have to die in the future. They've taken out 140,000 Russian soldiers.
Joe Biden's getting us in war, though.
Lives.
Yeah, hold that thought, Sauce. Hold that thought. Alexander, hold on. There's some tension in the room. I understand, because a little backstory of Sauce, Alexander. He comes from Russia. Sauce, I had to throw that in there so Alexander can understand this. He's a former immigrant of Russia, not too far from Russia. I'm not the country of Georgia, right, Sauce? My words together.
That's an American ally.
Yeah, but
I had to throw that in there.
But it's not. But the whole thing is that it's not fair. Why we have to pay for Ukraine, and you have Zelensky going to Canada. You have Zelensky going all over these world and winning trophies and winning the Nobel Peace Prize instead of like worrying about his own country. I mean, and then another thing is
he's been on the front lines here in Ukraine, but every politician does that.
Yeah, but
Alexander, I got a question to ask you.
Okay,
hold that thought, Sauce. I got a question to ask Alexander. With this war between Ukraine and Russia, obviously you live in the country of Ukraine here right now. Yeah. What are you seeing? If you can say, obviously, if you can't say things, I understand because of, the media is different in Ukraine and I don't want that flippy flop type of shit, but what can you say right now of what Ukraine wants with this war? Do they want to end it or do they want to keep on going? Because what we're seeing here, obviously, go ahead.
Yeah, so that means the war won't end, for a long time.
That's because Joe Biden doesn't want to end.
No, everyone wants to end. Nobody wants, I lost 4 colleagues at my job, everybody wants this shit to stop, but it has to stop in a way that they don't come back. The fear is if they go for ceasefire, they're just going to regroup and then they're going to go for Kiev again in another push.
Yeah.
So
people
you cannot let them. You cannot stop the war and let them regroup. You've got to keep hitting them. The Russians are going for a long Iran-Iraq type human wave thing.
Yeah. People do not understand the 100-year history of aggression of Russia against Ukraine and the exploitation of Ukrainians. And no amount of Putin atrocity apologists talking points. It is true. Biden, corrupt. Zelensky, corrupt. Putin, corrupt. None of that. No side has innocent, clean hands here. None of that
George
changes.
Washington was corrupt.
None of that changes. None of that changes.
This is just life. There's nothing new here.
Yeah. Right. None of that.
Guys, we have a clip. We have a clip here. We have a clip here. We're gonna 1 second, Joseph. Joseph, 1 second. We have a clip here. Go ahead, buddy. Go ahead.
None of that.
I got to get control of this here because everybody's
unmitigated fact of Russia invading a sovereign nation unprovoked. Period. Nothing else matters. They invaded Crimea under Obama. They invaded Ukraine again under Biden because they were weak. And this is a history of Russian aggression against Ukraine. And you either stand for freedom or you stand with fascists, Sauce.
I agree. I agree with Joseph to an extent.
I'm not
Joseph, I agree with you to an extent. Here, 1 second, guys. You guys got to let people talk. All right, stop crossing over each other. I don't like that.
Sorry.
1 second, okay? No, you're good. I agree with Joseph what he's saying here. Okay, I really do. But you have to understand, there's different views. All 4 of us have different views. Obviously, we're seeing it right now. Okay, you have to understand what the view of Ukraine is. You have to understand the view of Russia. Now, this is my own personal opinion. I said it on my show once before. I think it's a supremacy issue. Who has the bigger cojones in the room between Putin and Zelensky? Now, you ever watch professional wrestling? You have a heel and a baby face. All right? The heel right now, in my personal opinion, is Putin. The baby face is Zelensky. They're battling for grand supremacy. Because in their own way, Russia and Ukraine are wrong in the same aspect. Some of this war going on right now has nothing to do with what mainstream media is painting it out to be in the United States. There's a lot more to it. I want to get some of Alexander's insights on it because he can obviously see a lot more than we can see in the United States. The media paints it out different in the United States versus the media in Ukraine. What's the media painting it out in Ukraine right now, Alexander?
Well, I just want to go back up here and comment one thing. We have choices here, right? Either you have imperfect elected governments or you have perfect unelected governments like in North Korea, or you have drug cartels, or you have corporations. Those are your 4 choices for rulers, And so this is about, yes, there's always shit that's fucked up. Like paying taxes and, Ukrainians are ripping us off. That's true. There's shit winding up in Finland. There's money going missing. But they're finding these people and they're getting jailed. and it's an improvement.
Yeah.
Now, you're talking about the media here. Yes, there is a blackout. They don't talk about the Ukrainian casualties to keep the morale, because Ukraine is like at a very big disadvantage. There's 140 million Russians and only 38 million Ukrainians, and we do have a draft going on here. People are getting picked up off the bus, fighting age men and getting conscripted to the army, because they're really afraid.
Oh, it's a complete war zone. It's a complete war zone. What's going on with Ukraine? Yeah.
But
and I got a clip here.
Americans who have any Russian sympathies, you're more wrong than two dogs fucking on the White House lawn.
But Alexander,
I grew up in Ronald Reagan's America in liberal Minnesota. When Walter Mondale was my superhero and Jimmy Carter was my hero, and still we had it in our heads, even as Democrats from Minnesota, that Russia should not exist. And we cheered Reagan on when he was joking about bombing Russia, calling him the evil empire.
Well, that goes back to the old Soviet Union. That's why they feel
I'm born in 1970. This is what America's manifest destiny is today, to dismantle Russia into 5 separate nations that fight with each other to leave the rest of us alone. Yeah. Russia has been, in our history,
but Alexander, they're bombing schoolhouses right now, buddy.
Soldiers on American soil in the War of 1812.
But Alexander, they're bombing schoolhouses right now in Ukraine.
Yeah.
Check this clip out, guys, that we plugged in here.
Yeah, I know. The orphans are right here.
Guys, I have to get this in here so you can understand. This is the Ukraine war and the saga behind it. I'm calling it Arcadia. That's my own words for it, guys. Okay? And you're going to see this right here. Now, this video footage first out free team in action. Folks, these are schoolhouses and facilities that they're now using as barracks. When is it going to stop? We don't know. This is now a schoolhouse that they're using as a freaking barricade. So, when is it going to stop?
That is after the Russians have rounded up all those children and shipped them back to Russia to re-educate them and make them Russian, not Ukrainian.
Well, are we also missing the fact of what Zelensky's doing to his own people, going after churches, arresting anyone that speaks against the war? Now, if you believe in a democracy, you wouldn't be doing that.
Wartime.
I agree with you on that side, but every side engages in propaganda during a war. Is that how much of that is reality and how much of that is Russian propaganda? I have no doubt some of that is happening. I already said Zelensky corrupt, Biden corrupt, Putin corrupt. That doesn't change the unprovoked invasion of a sovereign nation. Period.
Our best presidents were corrupt. Andrew Jackson, corrupt.
Yeah, but okay, you know how much
he was awesome.
You know how much America has given to Ukraine right now? $5.5 trillion.
No, that's where I will.
No, that's not right. It's more like 100 billion.
No, it's more to that. We just
wait. Show me the facts.
Wait.
I'll be happy to.
Whoa. Guys, respect the floors here. Alexandra just said the United States only has given the country of Ukraine billions, not trillions. Where are you getting your insight sources at, Alexandra? Because it has been trillions, buddy.
This was on CNN today.
Oh, there's your source. You got to look out beyond CNN. You got to read the bills that get passed.
No, I see Fox too. I see Fox and I read BBC. Actually, I cross-check it myself. I was a U.S. Navy intelligence officer, so I know how to check facts and all that.
I read the bills. It took me 5 hours and 5 hours over 5 days to read the new bill that got passed, the defense bill and the budget bill that got passed last year. Ukraine's getting almost $1.3 trillion just from this bill.
Isn't the whole U.S. defense budget for 1 year only like $1 trillion or somewhere around there?
$1.7 trillion, and majority of it's going to Ukraine.
Well, there's a difference here in aid of direct cash and aid in the form of weaponry. My whole issue is
it's also cash too.
I just said that, Sauce. Some of it's cash, some of its military hardware.
I knew there was going to be tension in this room today.
$797 billion for the 2023 budget.
My point here is that this should be, I'm with Ukraine 100% in this, but this should be Europe's problem. Germany, like Trump said, needs to step up.
They never will do it. America has to be the leader.
France and Ireland are not stepping up.
America has to have the biggest cock and fuck the Russians because the Europeans are always squabbling.
Why isn't Ireland not stepping up? Why isn't Scotland not stepping up? Why isn't the United Kingdom not stepping up? You know why? Because they don't want their damn hands in the pocket. They're like, fuck that. The fucking Ukraine war and the Russian war is a complete fucking mess. They don't want to put their hands in fucking blood right now. They're like, fuck this. So they're letting fucking America handle it. Canada's the same way. Our northern neighbor, Canada's not getting their hands into it. They can care two shits about it.
There's a guy here from Task Force 2 who's shooting a lot of Russian generals. He's one of the top snipers in the world, and he's had a few trips here, and a lot of Russians fell dead because of him. You know, he's from the Canadian Delta.
And we did that during World War II. Before we got into World War II, American volunteers went over to Britain or France to join the Legion to fight the Nazis before World War II. And we should, and I applaud American patriots who are going over to Ukraine to fight the Russians. We should fight them to some degree, but Europe must do more. We should be doing less.
Joseph, Alexander. Alexander just sent me
a situation.
Yeah, Alexander just sent me a through a private chat here in the studio here. Shaky just got it. Thank you, Shaky. We'll plug it in. Go ahead and plug it in. This is some sources that he's getting here from FitchRatings.com. It's a resource corporate finance article. And this is basically the entire budget. We'll put it in the ticker here so that way you guys can see it. Right on the bottom there, it goes right there. FitchRatings.com, resource / corporate finance 2023 U.S. defense budget overview, airspace. And you can go to that website. We'll keep it up there. Shaky, keep it on the ticker there so people can see it. Alexander, I'm going to look at this article, man, and I'm going to see exactly what's factual and what's fiction. Because
I also sent that from defense.gov too. They confirmed that information from defense.gov. So.
Okay, yeah, Shaky just got that right now. We'll put that in there. We're going to keep the ticker on there for a little bit so folks can see it and everything. Okay, there it goes. But
I'm really enjoying this, because it's really I like to fight. I used to be a wrestler in high school, so I like to lock up and engage and
So I don't mean to interrupt Alexander and Sas, but this is the exact second article that he just sent Shaky. We're going to put it in the ticker on the bottom. Now this is the fiscal year of 2023. Now Alexander, is this from like January to like the beginning of February or January, just the month of January? Because it does say 2023. Where's this fiscal year of the reporting's coming from?
Right? They usually do budgets for the year. At least when I was in the Navy, we had to request money for the year, and then we were supposed to all spend it for that next year. So yes, the government has a way of wasting money. It's just not on Ukraine. They waste it in a lot of places.
So as much as we don't agree with. Yeah, as much as we don't agree with Joe Biden, right? As much as we don't agree with Joe Biden, I don't agree with him to count an apple in a tree. But you're saying that it's not in the trillions; it's only in the billions that we've sent over to Ukraine.
Yes.
Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes, that's what I'm. That's what's been.
I can't believe
here. I'm reading British news. I'm reading Norwegian news, which is pretty good. So, I mean, I read a lot of different sources because I know CNN can be screwed up sometimes. I know Fox News is screwed up. I mean, the American sources are especially because everything is about like being loud and obnoxious instead of conveying facts. It's like trying to get eyeballs. But news in Europe is a lot more reliable,
Each side engages in its own propaganda and its own political cover-ups. And I discussed the Russian aggressions and atrocities over the centuries in my Terror Strikes book, Atrocity chapter. So we have a dog in this fight. I keep repeating, to what degree, though? I agree that we are now 30 trillion in debt, that Europe needs to step up and do more, as Trump called on NATO to do their contractual obligations already. They weren't spending on their defense budgets, their contractual obligations. So now let them spend trillions. We shouldn't be. I will agree with Sauce on that. But Alex, I'm all with you in regard to fighting Russian atrocities and aggressions that is centuries old, that people with no understanding of history don't grasp.
But let me tell you, this thing has started.
Guys, I got to get a break in 1 second. We'll be right back, guys, with Alexander Grover joining us here from the country of Ukraine. Got a lot more here on Savage Unfiltered. Be right back.
Arcade is like an idea generating plugin that will present you with new sounds that maybe you wouldn't have access to.
I just like how it just is like quick, ready to go. The UI is so amazing that it just like kind of draws me in a way. Even makes me think creatively.
I'm able to like find really cool sounds that I wouldn't have even been able to find without Arcade.
They have all these sounds for space, you know? It's just a bunch of cool sounds that you can play in between tight chords.
At Jersey Mike's, they slice your order fresh right in front of you. And let me tell you, watching that can send a rush of emotions through a person. Excitement, impatience, baby-like wonder, indecisive, anticipatory chewing, nervous pacing, happy claps, and finally, jealousy, because that's this guy's sub. I should order one. Good idea.
Sliced right in front of you. It's a Jersey Mike's thing. A sub above.
Savaged Unfiltered.
Well, guys, before we bring in the rest of the panel here, I have a special video I want to show you of what and where our world is going. There's a tremendous transition going on, not just in the United States, but Ukraine, Russia, all over the world for that matter. Folks, this is a former Marine that served in World War II. And literally, this video is gonna melt your heart, folks, because this man is so devastated by just what not only the world is going through, but here in the United States as well. Check this video out, guys.
Realize what they have. They bitch about it. And then nowadays, I am so upset that the things we did and the things we fought for and the boys that died for it, it's all gone down the drain. Our country's gone to hell in a handbasket. We haven't got the country we had when I was raised. Not at all. Nobody will have the fun I had. Nobody will have the opportunity I had. It's just not the same. That's not what our boys, that's not what they died for.
Wow. Yeah, some sad stuff, guys. I watched that video, God, maybe 5-6 different times before I plugged it in here. And he's true. That man is in his 80s right now, around his mid-80s, actually. And everything that he stated in that video is absolutely true. That our country is going to hell in a handbasket. That the boys that he's referring to that died for this nation, have they died for nothing? Have they died in vain? Have they died in honor? Because we're seeing shit in this world. And it's disgusting. Disgusting. I'm going to bring back the panel here. I want to get Joseph's thoughts on that. Go ahead, Joseph.
Over and over, I repeat, principles, not personalities. I'm not going to be anti-Ukraine side just because I'm anti-Biden. Biden's a buffoon. He's corrupt. I've said it a million fucking times already. I'm not going to be pro-Biden like Alex just because it's politically expedient for him to say that. Now, I am criticizing each and every side because each and every side of this is corrupt. But again, the bottom line is it was an unprovoked invasion of a peaceful sovereign nation. And this is not just micro politics, but macro geopolitics. This is also about Biden, if he were to be weak, inviting China to move on Taiwan due to weakness. So this is not just Ukraine, Russia. This is global geopolitical repercussions. And I will always stand on principles.
I agree. I agree
Ukraine.
what you're saying. Yeah, I agree what you're saying, Joseph.
Yeah.
We got a clip here. I want to post some statistics. God, so many statistics coming into this episode, folks. It's unreal. I love it. I'm going to check out the statistics because, like Joseph said, facts matter. History matters. Joseph had stated that last week. Joseph, I'm sorry I had to, hat tip to you one of your quotes there, but statistics matter, folks. Check out this some more statistics coming from our good friend here in Ukraine. Basically putting this out here with aid to Ukraine, the statistics coming out of statistica.com. Okay, some of that is actual facts. I know that website very well. So maybe you are stating facts, Alexander, and rightfully so. I don't believe it's billions, buddy. I really don't. I believe we are in the trillions of spending.
See, the whole thing is, while we were doing the break and stuff, I sent in article after article of us doing separately money being sent over. For instance, it was interesting because Vice President Zelensky also asking certain parts of the funding that he's getting to be in cryptocurrency. How does that relate to the war?
That's part of the corruption going on. And again,
See, that's the lack of transparency.
I criticize all sides, but sauce, that doesn't change the unprovoked invasion of a sovereign nation fact. And that Putin is a dictator. He's ruled over Russia ever since the change of the millennia. 8 years as president, then 8 years as prime minister with Medvedev as his puppet. Now back to dictator of Russia again. He's a Soviet KGB mindset guy. He's not the good guy here.
So how do you explain the Nord Stream pipeline? How do you explain the Nord Stream pipeline?
You said you wanted to address something in the show. Yes. Before we close it out here with Alexander, which we're going to close out here momentarily with him. Before we close it out with him, what do you have to address to the show? I think this is a perfect time here for Sauce on the Mic segment here of the show, guys, because, definitely.
So number one thing is I'd like to state something that's been on my heart. One thing is I know a lot of people have been at me stating that I don't really support freedom and that I don't really support what American values stand for. But from an individual that came from a country that doesn't have freedom, from an individual that served this country, went overseas, I have the heart and I love this country too much. And that's why it's important that we fight together. We stand up. We unite. We show up in numbers at school board. We show up in numbers at our county meetings to get our country back. And yes, there's some outlandish things going on against me, but that's not going to stop me from spreading the truth because we are in informational warfare and we are in a spiritual warfare. And we have to unite together as brothers and sisters to really push back against the tyrannical government that we're facing in America. We have to start holding them accountable. And yes, does that mean that we're going to have your friends leaving? Absolutely. But the best part is that we're going to save this country because when you stand up, you're saving the next country for your grandkids and your kids. You're making a positive impact and you can be the difference changer.
Well said, Sauce. Well said, guys. Before we close it out, I want to get Joseph's segment here. We usually put this towards the end, towards the middle. Joseph's truth or consequence, guys. I think Joseph has a rebuttal against this here.
Hello. Do not adjust your equipment. No, this is not Michael Gardner. I am Joseph M. Leonard, and I am hijacking this broadcast momentarily to issue a heartfelt thank you. Thank you to the clueless nation's fascocrats that tune into this show. Thank you. I've repeated over and over. And with that, let's get on with the show. Yes, truth and consequences. And Sauce talked about truth. And yes, there's truth in what Sauce is saying. And I've got no problem with that. Trump was and is, as am I, America first. That does not mean America only or America alone. Like it or not, times are different. This is not the early 1900s where the American fortress protected and shielded by oceans. What happens over there matters. Truth is history matters. And I outline it in my book, the endless atrocities around the globe, including the Russian atrocities for centuries, and the Russian aggression and exploitation of Ukraine and Ukrainian over years. History matters. Facts matter. Micro and macro matters. This is a different time. What happens there and American weakness means China then moves on Taiwan too. And we're looking at global conflict. If we do not contain this to a regional conflict, like World War I turned into World War I because of an overblown regional conflict. So people who do not learn from their damn history, whom a lot in the indoctrination factories in America never learned any of it. That's why I had to put it in my fucking book to teach them some, are doomed to repeat it.
Yeah. Wise words, guys. Wow. Different views, different, thoughts coming from Sauce, coming from Joseph. I want to get more of Alexander's thoughts before we close it out, Alexander. I want to say one thing, buddy. Wow. Guys, the tension in this freaking space in this panel here is unbelievable. I love it, guys, but it's just different stuff. Alexander, buddy, where do you see us going in the next 20 years? Maybe that's something I could say here. I'm losing words because you guys are all on fire, and I love it.
I wanted to respond about this crying Marine. I guess when things were all good, we had segregation and all these things going on, right? So it depends who you ask. But America is still a land of opportunity. You just have to work a little harder. You have to study the right stuff. But if you go into a professional field like IT or something, there's a lot of jobs. And you go and then you start your career in the military, you can get a VA loan. And you can get your house. And if you keep your expenses down and don't fall victim to all the marketing, and you eat good food, good clean food, and you exercise. I'm 52. I did 12 pull-ups the other day on YouTube. I'm running barefoot 5 kilometers every second morning. And I keep my calories down to 1,600 high quality calories a day, Ukrainian farm food. And this is how I look. This is how a 52-year-old man looks when he lives in Ukraine, So
well, yeah, I mean it's
America's about making the right choices, and yes, it's harder, but it's a great country, and especially when you live. And I lived in Norway, which is considered the best country in the world, but they look up to America. The world needs America. America needs to be the leader. They can't put it on Europe because Europe cannot unite. They are.
They can unite, but they don't want to.
Hold that.
Yeah.
Yeah, hold that
thought,
Sauce. Before
America
you leave,
has to be in front.
Yeah,
America
before you leave, Alexander,
America
hold on, guys. Can I talk, please? 1 second. I'm getting a little aggravated. Y'all are stepping over. Damn it, man. Before Alexander leaves, okay? I think Joseph has something he has to say. Go ahead, Joseph.
Yeah, Alexander, you're right. Now, there's something I left out of my Truth and Consequences. People need to go to tinyurl.com/Putin atrocity apologists. I address all the Russian propaganda there. And, and again, every side in a war engages in propaganda. So, Alex, I agree. Yeah. America has to lead. That doesn't necessarily mean with our fucking checkbook all the time.
I agree with that one.
Okay. Now,
yeah. And I agree. I agree with your saying, Joseph. The war would end tomorrow. The war would end tomorrow if Putin were to withdraw. And I absolutely agree with that. I agree with that 100%.
Actually, the war would end once we stop giving money to Putin for oil and gas, and we start producing our own.
Sauce. It's not about money. They'll get money from the black market. They'll get ammunition from the black market. It's not about money.
Yeah. Well, Putin is reliant on our money, though. We're paying.
I agree with Sauce to some degree there, but Michael, you're right. Look at China. We have engaged in sanctions against Russia and China. They just sell it like Iran. Iran sells their oil to China and Russia and to other nations
just like Zelensky. Zelensky said something to the Congress. He says he wants 100,000 rounds of ammunition by tomorrow. That's what Zelensky said about 3 weeks ago, maybe going into 4 weeks ago when he was in the House chamber.
See, that's something a dictator would say.
To America, please give us money. Give us money.
Yeah, that's something that a dictator would
fucking
say.
Break.
And that's a dictator would say because
they're both dictators, Sauce. Zelensky and Putin are dictators.
And better yet, Zelensky owns America.
They fucking want blood.
Zelensky owns America.
I have no problem giving them physical arms. Just no money.
Well, we're running low on time. Alexander, I'm going to give you the floor,
I will
buddy.
give you bullets. No money.
We're running low on time. Alexander, you have any final thoughts before we depart with you, sir?
You're asking where we're going to be in 20 years. I think there won't be any Russia in 20 years. This is finally the West getting together. Liberals are talking about nuclear power being a good thing. We're seeing Greta Thunberg embracing nuclear power. We're going to see a shift. Yeah. We're seeing a seismic shift that we move our economies away. The Germans, everyone is moving their economies away from Russia. It's beginning, and in 5 years, you'll see it. And in 10 years, we'll be completely off of them. We'll even be off of oil, probably. And
so what's next? We're going to find Santa in the next 10 years?
That's my degree, nuclear engineering. So it makes me happy to see nuclear power come back.
All right, Santa. Where are you, Santa?
No,
we're going to find Santa next 20.
Rolls-Royce is building a small reactor now. And they're going to speed this up. We did the Manhattan Project in the 40s. We built an atomic bomb and flattened Japan. So they can Manhattan Project this and get us off the Russian thing. It's creating a seismic shift that we can't deal with assholes anymore. Goldman Sachs pumped all this money into Russia thinking it would make them nice. There was this thing called BRIC countries. I'm talking, Joseph. You've been talking the whole time. Goldman Sachs started all this with investing in BRIC countries.
Instead of making good points, you make idiotic ones. Alex.
That was an idiotic point.
I'm trying to save you from your fucking self. Now,
guys, we're running low on time. Yeah, we got to close it up, Joseph.
About the Greta Thunberg thing, and Sauce reacts emotionally instead of on principles regarding nuclear. Yes.
Yeah, he's right. I agree with Joseph. Yeah.
About the nuclear thing and even Greta Thunberg. That doesn't make Greta Thunberg a leader. It makes her an idiot right on one thing.
Yeah, she's trying to be the angel of the fucking world, and she's a buffoon. She is.
She's a high school
dropout.
She's a high school dropout.
Away from Russia.
She's a high school dropout.
Away from Russia and China. We're realizing we can't sell them NVIDIA chips anymore because they'll use them against us. They're finding American parts in those Iranian drones. They're going to tighten this up and finally realize there's a two-pole world here, good and evil, and we can't do business with evil. And it's shifting already. To
a little degree, yes, and I hope it will continue. But remember, Biden is corrupt. He doesn't care. He will always sell out.
So is everybody corrupt. I'm corrupt.
No, but my point is he will always sell out to the CCP. So this notion, unicorn fart dream that it's the West is coalescing is unicorn fart delusion.
It's going to be better.
Hey,
than
Alexander.
It was before.
Alexander.
Oh my God.
Here's my question. Here's my question for the country Ukraine. Okay, and I hope the country Ukraine sees this. What happens when America stops funding in 2 years when President Trump gets elected? Then what?
He's not going to get elected. He already screwed himself with and DeSantis will probably get elected. I think it's either going to be DeSantis or someone's going to come out of the woodwork. But I own the DWAC stock. I own the DWAC SPAC. You know, the stock.
No, my friend.
Down.
He's leading in the polls right now. Donald Trump is leading in all polls right now, showing a majority for the GOP.
DeSantis is number one.
So does Biden. Biden has taxes at. Biden's done crime.
Biden is 7-1 now. Biden is 7-1, and a lot can happen. But Trump should have won that last election by a 2/3.
They cheated. They cheated.
The cheating was 5%. The cheating was 5%.
It was more than 5%. It was more than 5%.
He should have won. He should have won like 90. He should have won like Reagan style.
The national
from the cheating.
National popular vote is irrelevant. What matters is the electoral college. They only had to cheat in the battleground states, like
and they did
to steal the election. You, do you not understand American history and the electoral college
at all? Civics. I know everything about American history.
Well, you
and the
just
cheating.
showed your dumbness.
No, Trump fired Steve Bannon, and that's why he lost, because he didn't know how to get those critical votes. When he went for his daughter and Jared Kushner over Bannon, that's when he lost the election.
Yeah, but did you also understand?
Steve Bannon was a great man.
Okay, so tell me about this. In 2014, who helped Zelensky get in?
Netflix.
No, it was Obama. We meddled in their elections, so Obama could get a big payout.
I thought a guy in Israel. I thought a guy in Israel bought it off, but that's
it was a.
I'm sorry, guys. Bye. Guys.
Oh.
We're going to conclude with this episode. Yeah. Oh, boy. I'm telling you. Guys, remember, like I said, keep it savaged, and we'll see you on the next time.